you're seeing somebody else's notes and links too. So it should give you kind of the big ideas from every session on the board by the time it's all built. But it's being built live.
All right, just a minute, not to close the door on our fungus sheets. It's a private experience. I can't help it, y'all. Any company that names their stuff G Suite, again, I can't take this seriously. Yeah, that's right, people watching live. I said that aloud. All right. So let me take a pulse check. Who is like brand new to Google Sheets and you're just super curious? Awesome, I like you. Curiosity between the sheets is a good thing. I can't, seriously, I'm not doing that.
You want to start keeping track, just like a tally?
Who is, I made a form and I have, results from a form on a Google Sheet and I've done some playing around. All right. Who is like, I live and breathe Google Sheets, they're my baby. You're my people. We're people. I feel you. I'll show you at some point today. We should share sheets.
Okay.
It's just, it's gold.
Yeah, right. Tweet that.
Yeah. Okay. So like, we're doing, I just helped somebody with a bus rodeo kind of form. So, but we're actually tracking all of our kids. We do MTSS, or you might do RTI, right? So we're able to track and tier all of our kids. So we have 7,600 kids. And so we use multi-tiers of sheets to be able to say like, oh, well, Billy, he's tier 1 with math, he's tier 2 with this, and highlights yellow, sends notifications for people that, oh, Billy just popped up, he might be on fire with ELA, we need to help him. So that's helping us with that. So Google Sheets, it's crazy what you can do, but it's automation for me. That's all it is. It's the automation magic. I want to be able, if someone fills out a form, I want to be able to look at the next tab over and all the magic happens. I don't want to have to look at the form responses, period. Right?
Right.
All right, so I'm going to open up a blank sheet. Once it wants to actually cooperate with me. I'm going to put in some random data as well. I'll do A, B, 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 C, D, no C, F, G, 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 sure. And then I'll do 1, 2, 3, and then for those of you who don't know you can do this, I'll highlight those and drag it down. Finish my numbering for me. I'll do that with letters. Now, what's kind of annoying is if you didn't want that to happen. In which case, I would do 2, 2, 2, at least 3 of them, and then I'll drag that down, and it won't happen. So, all right, I'm going to pretend that this is my form responses. All right, and you don't have to because you're in a blank sheet. But if this was a form response, this is what that tab would be called. My first rule of anything you're about to do to make it easier on you is no spaces. Right? Because otherwise you have to have some extra apostrophes that will throw you off, especially if you're new to this. So I always rename my sheet to something that is no spaces. So you can call it anything you want right now, something not too long because you're going to have to type a bunch. But in that little down drop next to the word, go ahead and rename it to something with no spaces. So I'm going to call this something with no spaces. And I'm one of those people that when I hashtag or when I put words, I have to capitalize. Yeah. Sorry. I just can't say those hashtags. I'm like, what are you saying? I have to do so much. Yeah. maybe we need to teach that, like life skills.
How to do hashtags.
Yeah. How to actually reply to all.
Oh yes.
This could be an ECAM session. I have to do that next time. All right. So if this were the form responses, my next rule is I never ever touch the form responses page, ever. Because as they come in, let's say that over here I had some crazy stuff going in these columns, right? As form responses came in, none of my formulas would carry over. I would have to continually add on. And there's an add-on to that called copy down, but my experience with it, it doesn't always work. And I want this to be something that is seamless and fast where I don't have to go back and look at it, right? So I'm going to add a new tab. So will you. So that plus button, look at that, it even tells you when you scroll over. That's kind of the key with all this is Google actually does tell you a lot of the stuff if you let it. Okay, so now I have a blank tab and my data's over here. So crap, I want my data here and maybe I don't want all of it, right? So we're gonna do some queries and then we're gonna have some fun with import ranges. And those of you who hate it when people touch your stuff and it gets all messed up, don't touch my sheets, right? They're all nice and neat and orderly. They're my sheets. You have the ability to give your sheets to somebody else and let them mess with your sheets without actually messing with your sheets. I love saying this word. All right, so here, I'm going to call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you call it. We're actually going to write a formula. Are you ready for this? You've probably done queries before.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right.
I know formulas.
Yes, you can. You can do this. I'm going to actually zoom in and make this a little bigger because we're all kind of blind in education.
It's okay, it happens. It happens.
I know, right? Okay, the first thing is equals. So write it equals.
Right.
We all know this. And I prefer, I just out of my own habit, I like to do everything caps. You can do it lowercase, whatever, just whatever the spirit moves you. So query, there you go. And then an open parenthesis. Now, do you see, I have a question mark. Some of you will not have a question mark, some of you do. If you have the question mark, touch that question mark. It's curious, right? Because then that's what happens. Google will actually walk you through. It's amazing. So you see here, I have the query, and there's my little pointer. It says that's where I am. And it highlights it for you. It models it for you as you go. This has saved my life so many times just to find out where I am in a giant formula, right? So here it says, all right, so the range of cells that I want to perform the query on. Well, here, guys, do you remember how we named it, this whatever you called it here was something with no spaces? A2 to E6 here, that does not reference that. It references somewhere in the sheet. You have to have a call out to the other tab. So the first thing I'm going to type is that tab name, so will you. So I did so something with no spaces and then exclamation point. I don't know why, I guess it's with feeling, right? All right, and then I'm going to go back and reference that range of cells. So it might break the thing temporarily, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go back here and see that for me, it is A1 through C13. So go back here. See how it says error? Don't worry about that right now. A1 and then colon, that's through C13. Close that parenthesis. And I'm going to wait, click enter until you do it first. Notice how it highlighted yellow? Guess what? Colors are good. If it doesn't highlight a color, it's broken. Google really does want to help you. Or maybe G Suite wants to help you. Once you've written your first query, you click enter. Let me know. Did it do it? Did it pick up? Magic.
What if it only does like one, highlighted color?
Okay, so instead of the dash, colon is your word, not your language. And because you have, okay, so you did a dash there. Name. When no one's a dash.
Yes. If we had music and smoke, they would be real dangerous.
You just missed our query. We queried each other's sheets.
Oh,
That's awesome.
All right.
clearing the sheet out of this.
Here you go, Deb.
Perfect. Okay.
That deserves a ticket, I think.
It's a good for the sheets. All right. All right, so there. Now you can manipulate the data all you want. And what's cool is if I did this, remember back to the, instead of doing that specific range, I did A1 through C13. If I took out 13 and just left it C, any other data that got added would just automatically spit into this, right? So you can do a specific range, but instead of doing that, I'm taking out the 13.
Oh, that just gave me an idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Right, so here, see how it stops there? But I'm gonna go back over here. Let's say that Billy was super late to the form. All right, and it's a J, and let's do 25, sure, and make that the 2 again. And I go back here, I didn't touch anything on sheet 2, and magically there it is.
Yes.
So you can set it up ahead of time, collect massive forms from faculty, from students, whatever, and then there you go, right? What's also really cool about this is whatever you do here, you can spit out to any other spreadsheet. They have the feature, don't do this now, because we're not going to set them, we don't have time. But that drop down right there, the copy to, So let's say that you're collecting from first period, some sort of form responses for a quiz, and then you're crunching it with a grade book or whatever. As long as whatever this tab is named the same on a separate sheet, you can spit this out to the other sheet, and it'll be like, boom. Won't think, it'll just pick it up right away. So whatever work you do here, you can send to any other sheet, and it'll pick it up, as long as this tab is named the same. Does that make sense? All right, so now let's do stuff. Let's do stuff with this query, because that's not all right? Let's say that, well, see, it's kind of already, let me, sorry. Let's say that I want to not do all of this. I only want to do A and C. I don't care about B, right? So that's what we're going to do next. Guess what? Google will help you with this too. So I'm going to go back over here to my formula. I'm going to delete that close parenthesis. You see this? It helps you do this. It helps you do this. So guess what I'm going to write next? A comma. And then a space. And then an open quotation mark. And then I'm going to type the word select, just like it did there. Now select means pick, right? So in this case, guess what? I'm going to pick the columns I want. Just the columns. So I didn't care about B. I just want A and C. So I'm going to write A, comma, C. And then close the, we'll close the quotations. You got to close everything, right? It's all circular. Close the parentheses. Boom. It's gone.
Oh my gosh.
So now you don't have to do like, I'm going to query column A. What happens with people here is that they don't realize this exists. So they'll just do a query here for A, a query here for C, a query here. Dude, this is so much easier. Right? It's so much easier. That way you can limit. If you have data that's giant this way, you can now know how to crunch it and make it much more manageable. Okay? But wait, there's more. All right? You know what? Alphabetical order is for the birds. I want it reversed. How do I do that? All right? Guess what? I'm going to go back. Get rid of my parenthesis, get rid of my quotation, and do a space. This one Google does not help you with, but that's why I'm here. So order by, what column was that? That was column A. A. D-E-S. Guess what that stands for? What would be ascending?
A.
Exactly. Close that, close quotation, or close the quotation, close parenthesis, click enter.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and the reason why it says 22222, I'll go ahead and I'll do this so you can see. Oops, let me go back. You can see the data better. Value my butt. Oh, it's because of AC. Yeah, so I'll keep the C there, but then I'll go back here to B. All right, so there. So you see how it flipped that? Just like magic. So guess what? If you receive form responses that are not in alphabetical order, now you can alphabetize them. Wow. Okay? So, y'all, when I learned that, I was like, yes. Ever since then, my forms, I always, on every form I do, one line for first name, one line for last name. Because then I can alphabetical order by last name. That's just the most incredible thing. Whether you're a teacher, your principal, it doesn't matter, whatever. Because then I can see the data better, right? What's really cool, geeky enough, is I can actually order by many things. So let's say I'm going to add, let's add a column here. Because I have A, D, 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 so on and so forth. I'm going to say, let's do Billy. Bob, so my name is Catherine, long business. Let's do Albert.
Okay, sure.
Gilmer. I'm going to the counties now. I'm not going to do Gwinnett because Gwinnett. Forsyth. I have strong feelings.
It's okay.
I have a product for Gwinnett.
It's okay.
Let's do Zach because why not?
It's okay. We can go have drinks. We can talk about
Perfect.
it. We can let you saw. Okay.
So here, guys, now I'm going to expand that to D because it's a new column. I'm going to say select A, B, and D. So there's those names now. But what I want to do,
Attached with the numbers.
right, now I want to do is I want to order. Let me center them. I'm very big on visuals. Half of this always is going to be how it looks. But now I want to say, all right, so see how there's BBB, but it's Gilmore, Forsyth, and Zach, although technically that's actually, let me actually, Sorry. Let's do Zach. And let's do Gilmore. Perfect. So now, so there's DVD, but for site, that's not alphabetical order. I need some more alphabet. I need alphabetical order in my life. So I can just add the extra column, right? And that's referencing the other column, the other tab. So now there, so give it a second to think. Did I do that right? Oh, you want to know why?
You didn't just,
No, there's all kinds of spaces below.
Uh-huh.
So what it just did, this is a good life lesson.
right,
Because watch,
if you go back and put a number
Close on
on
the
the
D.
D though.
all the way at the bottom,
Yeah, but if you put a number on the D to.
right? And the reason why was because I had cells that are, I don't know if I could do this. I know how to actually make it so it won't pull blank cells.
You can do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right.
Blank cells are a pain.
Okay, you ready? So I'm gonna go back over here, delete, space, where
Okay.
A is not null.
Makes
That's it.
sense, makes perfect
Oh, wait,
sense.
it's highlighted, it's not gonna do it. You see the red underline?
Mhm.
It's broken, let's find out. Value, tell me why. Unable to parse one line. I wonder if I did. See, now this is good, this is where A is not null, see, I was gonna pick that up, good, but now what I'm gonna do at the end is the sort.
There.
That was it, it's just the order, there we go. So now it's gonna do the right thing, it's gonna be descend, oh, it's not gonna do descending. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I said, it's not
Right.
descending.
So for some reason it doesn't work together, but that's half the fun. I wonder if I did,
How can it take sort by two columns
If they're not.
descending?
Yeah.
You gotta
what
pick
it's
one.
doing is, it's doing an order, so
Sort it by A, then D.
yes, that's exactly it. So because of the fact that it's all the way down here, now you have a way of taking care of this in a form response. I always just go ahead and delete all those, and every time you have a new form response, a new one will be created. So I will go ahead and, hello, right click, you do exist. Now let's do please select rows, there, I'll take care of that problem. So if there's new form response, it'll go ahead and just add that row, so there's another way around that.
As
Now
long
that
as you
should be all the way up there. Much
keep- as long
better.
as you keep the,
Right, but now it's not gonna wanna do the A and D descending.
Well, and D, there's nothing in? No, it's
Well, no,
D from the other
that's
sheet.
referencing that
got
sheet, yeah, all that references that sheet. But no, it did descend, that's ascending, not ascending, but good enough. But you get the idea, at least, right? And you see how half of this is experimentation? There's so much of this where I'm literally screaming at my computer, being like, why are they not working? All right, but this will help. All right, so what I wanna do now before you leave, keep this open, go to a new tab and open up a new blank sheet. Let's make it so no one can touch your sheets.
okay,
I know. I'm thinking about doing this for GATC. What do you think?
I think this is.
Okay.
I was just sitting here thinking, I said,
I
oh,
think
this
that
would be
people won't leave your
hilarious.
session.
I was just sitting here thinking, man, this would be cool.
I think the last 5 minutes should be.
Let's make sure the title is join me in the sheets.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
And they won't leave your
Like the
sheets.
lightning round. for
Yeah.
fun.
How fast can you?
Read between the sheets.
So at Camp Rome, I did between the sheets together. So, yeah. It's too much fun. All right, so guess what? Blank sheet. So let's say that I have this sheet, and I can hear myself saying this. But I don't want people necessarily to mess with this data. Or let's say that I'm a school principal, or if I have, I don't know, a department chair of some sort, but I want to parse out the data to other people so they can see whatever, but keep other things private, right? So here I have this query on this, and I've named it sheet 2. So remember that it's important that it's named sheet 2. Okay? I know. All right. Now we're gonna use something called import range. Who has done this before? Oh, y'all gonna geek out. You ready? Equals, always equal sign, and then import range. Look at even pops it up for you. Thank you, Google. Open parenthesis, and I'll walk you through it. You literally do not even need me at this point. You can see exactly what you need to do. So guess what it wants? It wants the full freaking link from, that's all you have to do. So I'm gonna go back over here to this sheet. Just copy that link. And then quotation marks, don't forget. I'm gonna paste that link. And just to test it out, you see how it has beyond the edit, it has, that's actually the tab, a certain tab ID. I'm gonna leave it to see if it works, okay? I'm pasting the link, I'm closing that, and then it's gonna walk me through it. All right, so next I need a comma.
Mine took the whole thing, said true and everything at the end.
Awesome. And then, okay, so World Cup, exclamation point, and then the range. So remember remember the sheet 2 name? Guess what you type in? Sheet 2. You can't see mine, let me make it a little bigger for you. All right, so sheet 2, and then it says exclamation point, and then the range, and then close the parentheses. So sheet 2, I think my range was what, A1 through, sure, let's do C14. Close it. Give it a second. Ref. This is why. You have to give it permission. There it is. So now you have all those form responses. If you did, and if you already sorted them in a separate tab, or let's say you pulled it out by teacher. So if over here, let's say that this right here was a teacher's name, okay? So let's repeat Zach a couple times here. You can't do that there. Zach, and then let's do Zach there, right? So I don't want Zach to see Elbert or Precise or Gilmer's stuff, right? Back in the query, I can say, select ABD, where D equals Zach. Close that. It's not gonna let me because I need this. It's not highlighted to color, so you know that's wrong. Boom. See what I see? The color helps, right? Just Zach stuff. And now Zach over here, watch this, ready? Only we'll see Zach stuff. Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome.
Import range, and it walks you through this stuff. All right, so what I'll do for you guys, how much time do we have left? Everybody's so involved in the sheets.
It's 11:05.
It's 11:05 is done?
Yes.
I never have
No,
enough time
no,
in the
it
sheets.
is 11:05.
Yeah.
Amen, right?
Actually, at
Amen,
the end of
amen.
the session.
You're done.
I think I'm.
All right, so what I'll do really quick is I'm gonna share my sheet. Nice. In the sheets. I can actually make my faces. All right, I'll save that. And I'll go ahead and I'll make this, you can't see that link though. I'll have you come up in just a little bit and type in your email addresses. I'll do edits, and then all those queries I did, I'll just do it so you can see it. So that way I'll just give that to you because you're here and that's my ticket for y'all to my sheet.
Awesome.
Awesome. Perfect. No problem. So when you get a moment, if you want a copy of that so I can fill that out, go ahead and put your email here and then I'll do the share just a little bit. Because Google is getting rid of their short link, which is.
Right, where'd you put this?
Come up here. Come around. Are you gonna pass this around? All right. Hope you enjoyed that, people on live.